Are there any supplements that you would recommend everybody to take?
So I always say I have tiers of supplements, right? My first tier, thousands of research studies, very clearly has benefits. Creatine monohydrate, which we've known about the performance benefits for years. We've known about the strength benefits, the body composition benefits.
You take it every day?
Yes, I do. Now it's coming out that there's cognitive benefits. And I want to say, man, I hope I don't get this wrong. So I will fact check this and make sure you ask me for the study. I'm pretty sure they did a study that showed that creatine actually decreased depressive symptoms.
Interesting.
So what I will say is, if there was one I would recommend for everybody, it would probably be creatine monohydrate because it's cheap, effective, and people say, wow, we don't know what the long-term effects are. It's been around for like 40 years. If there was long-term effects, we'd have seen it by now. And just a quick aside, creatine monohydrate, don't waste your money on anything else. There's people try to reinvent the wheel with creatine because monohydrate, remember when like big screen, flat screen TVs came out? I'm showing my age here.
No, I remember.
But I remember when it was like $1,000 for a 40-inch screen TV, and now you can get one for a stick of bubble gum. You know what I mean? Yeah. Uh-huh. And it's because everybody makes them. They're so ubiquitous. It drove the cost down, right? Everybody sells creatine monohydrate. It drives the cost down. So companies come up with new forms of creatine and make these claims around them to try to like get you to spend more money on creatine monohydrate. Saturates the muscle cell 100%. You don't need to do anything else.
What's going on there?
So a couple things. And we don't fully understand all the mechanisms, but we know that when creatine gets in the system and gets into the cell, it bonds with a phosphate, which produces creatine phosphate. That is a high energy phosphate donor. So when you're exercising, basically you are using what's called adenosine triphosphate, which is ATP, which is the purest form of energy in your body. So this, what we call hydrolysis of ATP, is used to power a lot of reactions in your body. And so ATP, triphosphate, 3 phosphates, to power these reactions, it gets cleaved to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, plus an inorganic phosphate, right? Creatine can donate its phosphate to ADP, reform ATP. So what we see is, especially during anaerobic exercise, better performance with creatine because it's a high energy phosphate donor, can help replenish that. And then it also pulls water into the cell. And we think that that's part of the body composition benefits of it because, a hydrated muscle cell, muscle cells are 70% water. They're mostly water. And people say, well, it's just water. Okay, but that's lean tissue. And there's actually I believe there's some evidence that actually hydrating the muscle basically actually improves the contractile properties of the muscle. So that could explain part of the strength benefits. And of course, again, it's going to show up as lean mass, right? Now, it's not a huge effect. We're talking, a couple pounds for most people, something like that.
I'll take it.
But for a relatively cheap, effective supplement, yeah, take it, right?
What are the supplements then? Is there anything else in the tier 1?
Yeah, like for people who can tolerate whey protein, it's not magic, but it's a cheap, usually quite tasty way to get in high quality protein. And, if you get it from whole food, great. But a lot of people struggle to get in, the amount of protein they'd like to get in from whole food. And so whey protein, again, very high quality, usually easily digestible. The caveat is whey protein concentrate. A lot of people can't tolerate it because there's lactose in there. So if you have a lactose intolerance, a whey isolate, which is usually microfiltered, gets out the vast majority, if not all, the lactose. And so most people can tolerate that. But there are a certain percentage of people who also have a sensitivity to the lactalbumins in whey, the proteins in whey. So in that case, there's what's called a whey hydrolysate, which is pre-digested whey. And almost all people can tolerate that. But if you don't have any digestive issues with it, a concentrated isolate is totally fine.
What else in that tier 1?
And then I would say caffeine.
Interesting.
Caffeine is it is the original cognitive enhancer. If we look at cognitive tests, we see consistently people perform better. And if you look at performance, people consistently perform better, right?
But before 12, a lot of people talk to me about the half-life of caffeine impacting sleep. And
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's the, there's even some evidence that, even if you have like a good dose of caffeine in the morning, that it may still affect your sleep later. So again, no solutions, only trade-offs, right? I would say overall, if you are an athlete, or somebody who, relies heavily on your brain power to, do whatever it is you do, caffeine, probably a useful supplement. As you said, if you're going to take it, try to get in, 9 hours before you're going to sleep to cease your caffeine intake, because by that time, the majority of it is out of your system, right?